This is Dr. Barry Taff, and you're listening to the Paranormal Journal.
This podcast presents information based in part on theory and conjecture. The host purpose is to suggest some possible explanation, but not necessarily the only answer to paranormal phenomena. We have not yet begun to touch the surface into these supernatural occurrences. With that being said, welcome to the Paranormal Journal.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Paranormal Journal. This is season 2 of the Paranormal Journal podcast. Glad everybody is out there and hung in with me. Had a lot of stuff going on, investigation-wise, work-wise. It's been crazy, folks. It's been totally crazy. So I'm back for a new season, and we're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. I got a lot of upcoming stuff coming up. We're going to be featured in a paranormal magazine. We are going to be the cover page on the paranormal magazine. We were nominated to be in that magazine, which will be coming out in March, and I'll give more details as it gets closer. But yeah, we will be in a paranormal magazine that's broadcast across the world and the United States. So pretty excited that we got nominated, which I was really surprised. I received an email from a magazine place and said we were nominated to be on the cover. I was highly impressed. I said, oh, cool, we're being noticed, so that's a really good thing, and that's a pretty good achievement in the paranormal field to be noticed, because a lot of groups go unnoticed that are putting in the work, and unfortunately that's that's how it goes. If you're not on TV or something, then you kind of go unnoticed. But there's a lot of paranormal groups out here that are putting in the work and deserve to be recognized. And if they ever want to come on my show, if they listen to this podcast and you want to come on the show and talk about your group and the stuff that you're doing, all you got to do is shoot me an email at paranormaljournal18@comcast.net and shoot me a message. Let me put you on the show and talk about what you're doing. Get the word out about you, that's for sure, because some people have put in the work and they deserve to be recognized. This is a really trying field with a lot of ups and downs with paranormal groups and paranormal teams, and if there's still people out there that are plugging away for a lot of years, and I think they deserve some recognition, and I'll definitely recognize them. Come on the show and we'll talk about your team. So definitely reach out to me, and we'll definitely put you out here. We will be attending some Paracons this year. We will have some merchandise out. We will be hooked up with Anna Manila at a couple Paracons. Doing some signing with the book that we helped Anna write. So Anna's the author, but we did give her a lot of information about some of our cases. So we're pretty we've been pretty busy. We did manage to squeeze a case in already. Our caseload is kind of filling up this year. couple people have postponed and rescheduling, but we did get a case in on the 21st. Pretty historic location that I can't, unfortunately, I can't put out there because the management of the historic location doesn't want anyone sending them emails about, coming in and investigate. They actually chose us to come in and investigate the historic location. And we did that on the 21st, and it was a really, really cool place, I want to tell you. A really, really cool place. We had a lot of experiences, and it's a big part of our history, too. It was a really big part of our history of the country. And there was a suicide and a couple of deaths in the home from illnesses, and very, very interesting place. We've been starting to do the review now, and we are catching some pretty cool stuff. Names associated with the location, and a lot of help me saying names. Nothing on video yet, but we're plugging away decently and trying to figure out some things. And we heard some really weird stuff when we were in the home. Really, really, really weird stuff. It was really cool. Excuse me. We're hearing breaths and which is really fascinating with me with these breaths. In a lot of paranormal investigations, you get these like sighs, or like these like deep breaths or groans or even growling. Sometimes you hear some growling. Some people get really alarmed by hearing the growling, but it doesn't really affect me. People say, "Oh, it's demonic. It's demonic." Everybody wants to kick the demonic thing. I'm always going to say that, but I don't think growling's associated with demonic things. Some people might, but I've heard it a lot over the years, but never really had anything demonic happen or seen anything demonic, or it doesn't work that way. To me, it doesn't. But some people think the smallest things might relate to something demonic, which that's not the case. But I have heard it, and in this case, we did hear some breaths, and we did hear a couple little low EVPs while we were there. Nothing really big, nothing really significant. Like we didn't see any movement, or and there was reports of movement and full-bodied apparitions in the location as well. I think with a lot more investigating and a lot more camera time, we did investigate the place for 8 hours, and I definitely, if the management of the location listens to this podcast, I didn't put the name out there for you, but I do want to thank them for letting us come in. It's been over 10 years since they've had a paranormal group in this place, and they asked us to come in and investigate. So pretty honored, because the place was very beautiful and very, very awesome looking. And it's haunted. It's pretty haunted from all the stories that we heard from the curators of the place and patrons that go to the place. It was interesting. It was very interesting. Now we had 9 investigators there, and I tell you what, it was pretty busy all night. We plugged away for 8 hours, and some investigators got some pretty cool stuff already with some EVPs. And there's some of the stuff I've listened to already. I've probably captured about 4 or 5 EVPs of voices. One of the cameras I had a wireless camera set up in one of the rooms, and I hear a voice say, "Help me," really clear in the camera. And I also had a digital voice recorder going in that room at the same time, and I went into that recorder at the same time, and both devices picked up the "Help me," which is cool, because it's now you're now collaborating between two recording devices, and it captured on 2 recording devices, which is very cool. Now, when we did the walkthrough of the place, me and Tom, which we did the walkthrough, we met with the curator, and we're walking through, and she's explaining the things, and I set a camera down on one of the desks, shooting into one of the rooms where they had seen multiple full-bodied apparitions in one room. So I said, well, when we're downstairs talking about a date to investigate, I'll set a camera here, and then I'll put a recorder out here while we're downstairs talking about what date we're going to investigate. So, I didn't know if we were going to get anything or, didn't know if we caught anything. We were downstairs talking the whole time. And, I went into the recorder and went into the camera and started listening to everything. Was listening, and sure enough, right in the camera, I hear you hear a man's voice say Paul. It says Paul, and at the same time, my recorder in another room picked the same voice up. So this was a disembodied voice out loud that both recording devices captured, which is really, really cool. It's validating that you picked up a disembodied voice, and it was definitely not on the floor we were on. We were in the basement, and that was on the first floor. And you can hear us talking, and you hear this man's voice over top of ours go, Paul, really loud, like into the camera. And there was no one else there but us. And it was really, really cool. And that was our initial just walkthrough and history of the location. And I'm hoping we get invited back to do a lot more investigating, because that place has a slew of paranormal activity. And the stories were pretty incredible from what we had heard from the curators. And I definitely want to get back there for sure. I mean, there's been a suicide in there. There's been a couple of deaths. I mean, it just has the whole trifecta. You get disembodied voices. You're seeing full-bodied apparitions, and they even have a picture of one, I believe, in period clothing. It is a really cool place. I cannot wait to get back in there and do some more investigating. We're going to knock this out for them, go back to a reveal. Hopefully they're impressed with the reveal. And we get back into the location and start doing some more investigating, because the more investigating you do, the more stuff you're going to get. And who knows, you might even get that one hell of a moment of catching a full-bodied apparition on a camera. That's what I'm trying to get. I've captured some pretty cool stuff on video with the black mass, which you can go to YouTube. I've said it 100 times, but you can go to YouTube, because I think it's one of the best pieces of evidence of a black mass you're ever going to see. And it's 100% real. We captured it in an investigation. Go to YouTube, go to the Harrisburg Area Paranormal Society, go to the Black Mass video, and you're going to see the video in its entirety. And it's an amazing piece of video. It really is. I've captured doors opening up on their own. That Black Mass, we have really cool pictures that we've captured of a shadow figure. You don't get a whole lot of evidence, picture-wise or video-wise. But when you get it, it's amazing. That video, I probably watched that video a couple million times. I captured it. Wow. Almost 15 years ago, 13 years ago. And it's still amazing. And I still watch it like at least twice a day, maybe. Like just trying to figure out what caused it to manifest, because it's just, it's totally unpredictable, and how it happened, I really don't know. It just manifests, and if you watch the video, you'll be amazed with it, because I know when I seen it, it was amazing. But the whole thing with paranormal investigations, you never know what's going to happen. That's the whole thing. Like, you think it's just, and that's what I was explaining to the curator. It's not about running around in the dark with flashlights and infrared cameras a lot. You can have paranormal stuff happen broad daylight just as well as you can have it happen at 3 o'clock in the morning. You just have to be at the right place at the right time for the paranormal activity to happen. And when you're there and you're at the right place at the right time and you catch it, it's an amazing feeling. Just hearing voices, that you might not have heard at the time, and then you play back into your recording systems, and there's these voices imprinted in the recorder, and you're just like, I did not hear that. And sometimes you hear it. If you plug in, they call it live EVP now, but I was doing it way before they called it live EVP. I was doing live EVP 20 years ago, which I adopted that from watching. I had seen Ed Warren on a TV show, and I seen he had an old analog tape deck with like a boom kind of microphone, and he was recording, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. And he had a set of headphones on, and he was listening. What he's doing was listening for EVPs and disembodied voices and stuff, and that's where I adopted it from. And anybody that knows me that's been investigating with me for the last 20 plus years can tell you I've always plugged into my recorders and listened while I was investigating. And it was way before they started live EVP, way before. And I thought it gave me the advantage in an investigation because no one was doing it. And I'll tell you what, it did, because I would be in investigations and I would hear things and no one in the group would hear them. And they thought that I was like imagining things. I'm like, dude, I just heard it get out. Did you guys hear it? And they're like, I didn't hear it. So now I was definitely realizing that I'm hearing on a different hertz level that they can't hear these things on, and I'm hearing them through the recording devices, but they're not. So that's telling me it's way below what they're able to hear with the human hearing, which is amazing that I was doing. You know, I'm catching it. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. So anything, people out there that are listening to the show, anything below 20 hertz is non-human. Like, it's a human can't talk below 20 hertz, or we can't hear below 20 hertz. Anything from 20 to 20,000 we can hear. Anything below that 20 hertz, now you're on a level of like animals. Animals can hear below the human hearing range, but we can't. So these things, and sometimes I would put the EVPs on a spectrogram, which is a program in my Cool Edit. It's a Cool Edit program, and I would put it on a spectrogram, and you can actually see the EVPs, and you highlight that area, and it'll let you know what hertz level that voice is coming through on. And a lot of them were below 20 hertz. They were speaking below 20 hertz, which is not possible, but they were doing it. And it was amazing. EVPs are probably, in most investigations, you get more EVPs than you do video. And that's a fact. Any investigator that's been doing this long enough will tell you, you're going to get a hell of a lot more EVPs than you're ever going to get video or camera wise, or, you know, that's just how it is. You hear these things more than you see them. And I'm saying things because I really don't know what they are. Are they ghosts? I think some are, maybe, or ghosts. You know, some are ghosts. I think there are ghosts. There are beings or some subconscious that lives on, because, you know, some of the stuff that I've recorded is highly intelligent. We can't see it, but it's very intelligent, and it answers questions about stuff that happened in the past. Like, I've had it happen at Gettysburg. I had it happen at Fort Mifflin. I asked it what division it was in, and it said the North. And we didn't hear it at all. I did not hear it. I just said, you know, what division were you with? Didn't. And it was as quiet as this. We heard nothing. It was silence. When I played it back in the recorder, and I had no idea I had even caught it because no one heard anything. And, you know, I played it back in the recorder, and you hear a man's voice say North. It's like, North. And we did not hear it. And I was plugged in. So that just goes to show you that, you know, sometimes you do miss EVPs being plugged in, or should I say live EVP. You can miss them. If you're not paying attention, you can be walking, which is really cool. You can be walking and making a noise, say you're doing this, you know, rubbing something, and they'll use a reverberal kind of noise to communicate and talk. You'll be walking, all of a sudden you hear, get out, or help me, or something, you know, or say a name or something, you know, John, you know, it'll do something like that. And it'll stop you in your tracks, because you'll be like, whoa, I just heard a voice. I heard something, you know. I don't know what the hell that was. And then when you go back in the recorder, you know, you always note it too. If you want to get into paranormal investigating, always document everything. Even if you're just saying it into the recorder, you know, say, hey, you know, you could walk into the room and you heard something. Say, yeah, I just thought I heard a voice said, you know, it's 8:20 p.m. I definitely heard a voice. And that way, when you go back in your recorder, you know exactly what time it happened too. And some recorders you can even mark it. You can even index where you heard the EVP at the time. You hit the index, and later on in the evening, you can go back to that index mark in the recorder and listen to where you heard the EVP, and that's really cool. It's kind of like the live EVP recorders. You can do the same thing with those, but most recorders have an index or a mark. It'll say mark or index. You hit that, you hear a voice, just hit that index, and it'll mark right where you heard that EVP, and you can rewind that session all the way back, and it'll go right to those index marks, and you can listen more to what you thought you heard. That's the thing about paranormal investigations: is documenting. Are you going to get an answer? Are you going to have an answer to it? Probably not. I don't have any answers to why things happen. I like hearing a lot of people's BS about the real answer behind what they think. That's the big thing. What they think is the answer. But there are no answers. To me, there are no answers. And, I've done it long enough to realize that, these things are totally unpredictable. You never know when they're going to happen. You don't know why they're happening, how they're happening, where they're happening. That's the total enigma about the whole thing. Is it's like a big riddle. You know what I mean? Like they give you little snippets of things. It's not like they're giving you massive amount of information, but they're giving you snippets of, hey, we're still here. There's something here. But then there's other things that I don't think are ghosts. There's something else. They're interdimensional, or I don't know what they are. But there's some really weird things that happen. Like this black stuff. Some people say it's ghosts trying to manifest and stuff like that. And it could be. It could be a ghost trying to manifest into something. I'm not totally sure. But I can tell you this much. Whatever they are, they create energy from nothing. How that's even possible, I really couldn't tell you, because it's forming a black mass from nothing. I mean, there's nothing there, and all of a sudden there's this thing forming and turning black, gaining mass where you can no longer see through it. So it's definitely creating mass. But where is it getting the energy to create a mass? Almost like a black hole, almost. You know what I mean? That's what it kind of reminds you of that. When you're watching on a video that we captured, it kind of reminds you of like a little small black hole that maybe something's coming in and out of like a dimension. And it keeps going back to the same place. Boom, it goes to this dresser, then it goes back to the closet, it goes to the dresser, it goes to the closet. But in the home, the people definitely seen it manifested other places in the home, not only there, but they seen it in their kids' room, they seen it downstairs, and it was touchy-feely with them too. It pushed them and touched them, and they still live there, which, I'm trying to get back into there to do way more investigations, but, they have small children, and, the one son's a teenager now. I think he's in his teens now. It's been that long since I've been there. We were scheduled to go back there, but some things happened, and it never happened. But I'm trying to get back there desperately to really concentrate on that closet to see. Maybe it's a portal. I hate saying a portal, but maybe it's a portal. I really don't know. Is it some way that somehow these interdimensional things can travel at that particular location? Maybe it's something geomagnetic with the earth right there, that these things it's the way they come in and out. It's a certain place that has this geomagnetic kind of portal. I mean, that's the only way I can describe it as, or an entryway to this dimension. There are other dimensions. We live in a 3-dimensional, 2-dimensional world. There are other dimensions. Scientists have proved it. We just can't figure out how it exists, or it's really weird. Scientists have proven there are other dimensions, and are these things coming from those dimensions? We really don't know. Is it alien technology? I don't know. All I know is it's creating itself from nothing, and How the hell do you create something from nothing? That's the most amazing part of the whole video if you watch it. I'm telling you, just you want to see something amazing. It's real. It's just no fakery, YouTube bullcrap. Go to Harrisburg Area Paranormal Society on YouTube. Go to the Black Mass video and watch it. That video is 1,000,000% real. There's no bullcrap in it. That's stuff that we recorded. I put it out there so people can actually see these things do exist, and they are in people's homes, and people are seeing them. I didn't put it out there to gain any kind of fame, any of that. I put it out there solely on the purpose of educating people that these things are real and they're out there. And some people experience them on a very high level. And what the hell are they? What are they? You know what I mean? That's the big thing. What in the hell are these things? Don't know. We really don't know. I don't have a clue. I don't think anyone really does. They can watch the video. You can gain your own conclusions from it. But it's just, it's amazing, to really try to figure these things out. Why did it happen that night? I don't know. I went back another time, and it never manifested again. But we did hear voices and disembodied voices, and I was touched twice in the same night in that very room. Once I got poked in my back. I was sitting in the closet because we had already done the investigation. We seen it come out of the closet. So I was basically focusing on investigating that room and that closet. So I sat in that closet where this thing manifested at. And sure enough, about 15 or 20 minutes into investigating that room, something poked me in the middle of the back. And really hard, with it felt like a thumb almost, like someone jammed their thumb in my back. And I jumped up, and I'm like, wow, man, it was freaky. And I didn't sit back in the closet after that. I sat on the edge of the bed. But then I moved over to the corner about where I had my camera, and I was sitting there. And I don't know, I felt kind of uneasy, just because I know there's something there. It's kind of your mind playing tricks on you, putting that fight or flight kind of thing into your head, because you already know you see there's something here. You captured it on video. You're hearing disembodied voices. You just got touched. So now you're definitely on edge. You're on alert. There's something here. There's something paranormal going on here. There's something here that we can't see physically, but it's there. You can see it. You can't, you can't see it, but it can see you, and it can touch you, and you can't touch it. That's the scary part about paranormal investigating, is these things, if they wanted to attack you, they can attack you. You can't see them. And that's the funny thing, is it's a physical force. It's not like it's mentally happening to you. You are physically being touched and pushed. And that night I was really feeling weird. So I stood up and just, I don't know, like you're ready for something to happen. And sure enough, something happens again. This time it pulls on my shorts. It was summertime, and my shorts got pulled on really hard, like someone yanked it. And I'm like, wow. It totally freaked me out. And I'm like, man, something just really pulled on my shorts really hard. And I said out loud, I was referring to whatever was in the room with us. I said, did you pull on my shorts? And we heard a voice say, you would know. I mean, it was clear as day, like, you would know. And I did capture it on a recording. I'm not going to play any of the recordings tonight, but I'll definitely play some EVPs for my listeners out there. Not tonight, but we'll do a whole episode of just playing EVPs. But that was so interesting. I mean, I've had so many interesting cases. Like, I talk about the ghost box, and I don't like the ghost box, only because I like it, but I don't, because it's disputable. It's using radio waves. It's using radio stations. So, if you get something on it, someone can always say it's a radio station. And that's what sucks about it, because I've had some really cool stuff happen with the ghost box. So, one clip, like I said, it said help, like, and it stretched over like, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 stations. It was like, the ghost boxes, and this thing just was like, help, and everybody's like, whoa, and it was really loud at the time. And it was freaky. We wound up turning our lights on after that, but it was a really weird moment that happened on the ghost box. I like to touch on a lot of things that has happened to me in investigations, simply for the fact is, these are real things that happen to me, and I'm trying to get more of my clients on that want to, be on the show and talk about their experiences, which I'm trying to get more people on. But I like talking about the stuff that I've done because it's stuff that's I've really experienced, and investigating for as long as I've investigated, I've had a lot of weird, strange shit happen. And it's interesting because I don't, there are a lot of people that have put in the same amount of time as I have at doing this, and I definitely like to hear their stories because I tell you what, I have a lot of them, and it just never stops. Every time I go to an investigation, something happens. It's interesting, a lot of these cases too that we investigate, they all have the same kind of symptoms. People are seeing shadows, people are hearing voices. It's the typical kind of haunting thing, and it's a lot of it is the same. It really is. It's that one or two cases that aren't the same that really pique your interest in the investigation, because you're like, why is that house different than any other house that we did? This the phenomena is unreal. There's a lot of things going on. Nothing to the extent of like you see in a movie. Like some of this stuff you see in a movie is just nuts. Stuff flying around, and even some of these shows like the paranormal caught on camera. Some of this stuff, a lot of people are faking stuff, which sucks because it really. There could be someone that's legitimately putting some real paranormal phenomena on like YouTube platform or a TikTok, but that's the thing, man. People are trying to get viewers, and even myself, I want to get more listeners. I want people to listen because I have a lot to I have a lot to talk about. I like to educate people about paranormal investigating, the phenomena involved in it, the dangers involved in it. There are dangers involved in paranormal investigating. There are things that can happen to you. I'm not going to say possession or anything because I've never experienced any of that kind of stuff. I'm only going to touch base on what I've experienced, the things that I've done. I can't say if there's demonic possession. Are there demons? It's possible. I've never seen them. I've never experienced anything. I've never investigated anything that was demonic or possibly demonic. And I think it's good to go into a case being skeptical. You don't want to go into a case automatically thinking that, the place is demonically haunted or, demonically infested with demons and things like that, because now you're pumping your psyche up for something else. You know what I mean? You're self-creating an environment that you really don't need to be self-creating. You know what I mean? You go in with you're going into it with an open mind, but you're going in skeptically as well. You never want to go into a place saying, oh, they said it's haunted, so it's haunted. No, you're there to gather data. You're there to gather the data, come back, review it, get back with them. Hey, the stuff you're experiencing, we experienced it. We caught it. Here it is. Here's what we caught. We caught audio. Maybe we caught some video. That's the most important thing. It's important to me because that's what we've done. Most of our cases are residential cases. They're not like going to Waverly Hills or we do that kind of stuff for fun. That's fun cases. We're out in the public helping people and trying to figure out an answer, trying to help them. Definitely trying to, give them some kind of answer to what's going on. Do we have an answer? No. But can we go there and validate their claims of paranormal activity? Hell yeah, we can. And we do it. And we do it very well. In most of the cases that we've done, if the people reported activity, like I said, we go in skeptically, but we catch things. When we first started doing it, we thought we were messing up, or we were, thinking, man, maybe we're just losing our minds or something. This can't be. We're catching. I'm documenting these EVPs and the times, and I'm like, man, how the hell catching so many EVPs? I mean, we've got to be doing something wrong. But we weren't. We were doing everything right. But in our minds, that we're trying to give a logical explanation to something there is no explanation to. So that's the hard part, is trying to find an explanation to something that there are no explanations to. You know what I mean? There are none. We're trying to figure out what the hell was going on, but it's hard, folks. It's really hard. I don't have any damn answers, or I don't have any answers to it, to be honest. I wish I did. I wish I did. I really did. It's frustrating anymore to try to figure out, what the hell is causing this stuff. We're trying to figure it out, but it just gets harder and harder and harder and harder to figure out. It really, really does. And unfortunately, Don won't be with us this season. Don's going through some personal things, and Don's one for the fight with this thing too, trying to figure out stuff. And Don's definitely a good investigator. He's been doing it for we've been doing it together for a long time, and I'm sad he ain't coming back this season, so I'm kind of doing it on my own. But I'm thinking about bringing in Tom. He's my case manager, and he might go host the show with me. He said he would. So I'm just doing this first episode on season 2 by myself tonight. So, and I'm not doing it live. I'm pre-recording it, but just sitting here thinking about some of the stuff we've been doing, and I did help Anna Manila write a book on our case files, which was a case we did, and she named it The Unholy Structure. So I gave her some information on a bunch of stuff that happened in a case that we did, and some of the experiences that we had and construction workers had in a case that we did in an old mansion that was really, really haunted, really active. I mean, we captured so much stuff. Probably in the top 5 most haunted places I've ever been in was in that location. Go to Amazon and check it out. It's called Unholy Structure by Anna Manillo. And check it out. All the experiences in that book are real. They did happen at one time or another during that investigation. And it even talks about the construction workers that were there rebuilding the house, because the house was the mansion was a total wreck. And they did rebuild it, but a lot of workers quit. A lot of them quit because they couldn't handle it. And the activity was going on. I mean, they're talking to people that aren't there, and they couldn't handle it. So they bailed out, man. They were like, no, we're gone. We're out of here. This is not going to happen. Not this time. I think in one instance there was the foreman had gotten there early. They were working early because it was the summertime, and it was hot. So they're working early, and sure enough, he hears what he thinks is one of his guys come in, and he hears talking, and he's talking back to it, and it's talking back to him, and he's talking to it, and it's answering him, and he's having a full-blown conversation with what he thinks is one of his guys, and it's not one of his guys. It's a ghost. And he doesn't even realize that until one of his guys actually shows up and says, "Who the hell are you talking to?" I said, "I'm talking to you." He's like, "I just got here." He said, "Do you hear the other person?" He's like, "I didn't hear anybody but you talking." He's like, "There was somebody else that was talking back, and he was all freaked out, and he didn't quit, but he was the foreman of the police. But he had a lot of things happen to him in there, which is really, really cool. But the more you dig into this stuff, the more fascinating it is, because there was a lot of things in that place that was really, really intelligent, really intelligent. I mean, it would answer questions directly. I mean, you would ask a question, and it would answer. I asked, are you Amish? And because this happened in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, there's a lot of Amish farms in Lancaster, and I said, were you Amish? And at the time, I didn't hear it, but we heard a voice in the recorder, and we started listening, and it said sometimes. And Amish people do sometimes act like the English. They call us the English. So, sometimes they're Amish, and then, there's times in their lives where they're not Amish. They get out there and they do, things that regular people do. And it said sometimes, which was really cool. I mean, you hear a female say sometimes, and it was a female voice that sometimes. And I was like, wow, man, that's like really intelligently communicating, which is, it's very, very cool. You don't have that happen a lot. Hardly ever, actually, have that happen. And when it does happen, and you get into a place like this, and it's it's crazy. It blows you away, because you're just like, oh my God, I can't believe that we're experiencing this stuff and we're hearing it, answering questions directly. It's unexplainable. It really, really is. The more you start getting into it, I'm telling you, the more you get hooked into paranormal investigating, especially when you have something big happen. You have something big happen, and it's just, it's amazing. Really, really is. You don't believe it. You don't want to believe it, but you're like, oh my God, I just seen something, or I just heard something. It's amazing. You're telling you, if you get into paranormal investigating, you have something like that happen, you're finished. You're done. You're gonna be buying all kinds of equipment. You're gonna be out trying to build a team and start investigating. But just try to remember, it's not all about the movies. You see the movies and you see them out there, and it's all this fascinating stuff going on, and they're experiencing all this really cool stuff, and things are flying around. It's not like that. It's not like that at all. If you do have something like that happen, wow, you've just had some amazing activity. I will tell you that, because I've never, in all the years I've never seen some of the stuff that happens in these movies that's happened in real life. Now I've seen like lights turn off and things like that, things moving, but nothing in the scale of like maybe like The Exorcist, where things are flying off the walls and things, the whole room's just gone totally ballistic. I've never seen anything like that. I'm hoping to see something like that one day. That's my dream, but I've yet to see that. I'm waiting. I'm waiting, but never seen it yet. I'm still waiting though. I'm still waiting. But it could happen one day. It could happen. You never know. You might get into a case where there's this totally crazy activity and things are flying around, and who knows? It's possible. But I do think there are times when there's a certain person, they get into a certain location, and they're like this geomagnetic force, and you get these two things together, and all of a sudden it's like an explosion of paranormal activity. And it's not particularly the house as much as it is the person. There are people that are haunted. I like to call them haunted people, or there are these people that are psychically charged, and I'm not a big psychic fan. You know what I mean? I like these TV shows with this psychic medium, Teresa Caputo, and all them. Maybe they're really psychic. I really don't know. I don't know. It's hard for me to swallow that. You know, there are some people that have this ability. I think I've yet to really witness it. You know, they talk about I'm talking to spirit and all this. Well, I don't know. Someone would really have to convince me, without a shadow of a doubt, of something that happened to me and someone that I love that's passed on, and told me something secretly about that person that me and that person did that only me and them would know. And then maybe I would be convinced, you know, but maybe they have an ability where they can read your mind. You know what I mean? I don't really know. Maybe they have this thing where they can read your mind and they're telling you, you might, this might pop into your mind and they're able to read what's on your mind. I really don't know. You know what I mean? It's just something that's interesting. I've always been interested in it. And, I never really held a lot of like high regards in it because, I just think it's so media entertainment wise now. It's not. I don't know. It just seems like the people that do it for TV do it for money, and to do something for money on someone's grief. Um, I don't think that's right. When you lose somebody you really love, there's always that spot in your heart that it's never going to be the same. It's never going to heal. That loss is always going to be there until the day you die, until you leave this world. That loss is going to be there, especially people that have lost their children, which I cannot imagine losing my kid. I tell you, there's people got to have a lot of strength to move forward after losing their kid. That's not an easy thing. That's something that never heals your heart. I don't care what anybody says. You are never going to get over that. I mean, I've never lost my child, or I know people that have, which is it's really heartbreaking. Um, but and I lost my grandparents, and losing your grandparent is it's difficult. I still miss mine every day. Um, and I couldn't imagine losing a kid, or your mom, your dad. My parents are still here. Um, I'm 50 years old, but my parents are still here. A lot of people's parents are gone, and that's a thing that you don't get over that. You know what I mean? And I think if there's people out there using that to gain money on someone's grief, saying they're psychic and they're really not, um, I think that's wrong in all aspects, 1,000% wrong, and you should be ashamed of yourself if you're doing something like that because it's totally not cool whatsoever. Uh, I would not associate with some people that do fake stuff. Like it's not. I can't do that. That's not what I'm in this for fakery. That's not why I do this. I'm looking for a bigger answer. Is there life after death? That's what I'm looking for. Just because of the loss that I've had in my family with losing my uncle, losing my grandfather, losing my cousin, close friends I lost. It's really scary. I don't know if you ever really sat down and thought about dying. Some people maybe they look at it a different way than I do, but dying is really scary. If you think about it, we're all going to do it. It's a natural process in our lives. We're born, we die. It's just a natural process, a step to life. You're born, you die, you're gone. And some people think when you die, it's just that's it. It's darkness. It's your life's gone. Just like before you were ever born, you never knew you were born. You didn't. What were you before you were born? Do you have any kind of memory before you were born? I don't. I have no clue. I have no clue. Is that the way it is when you die? In the Bible, it kind of says that. Kind of says you're asleep until it's time for judgment. But But I'm not there's some people that are not into the Bible. They're not into religion or, and that's their choice to be not into that. I happen to be religious. I believe that there's Jesus Christ. There is something else after we die. Just because of the things I've experienced, there is, without a doubt, something else. What it is entirely, I couldn't tell you. And I don't think anybody can tell you. I get tired of hearing these people that say that they can, this is what happens when you die. You're going to this dimension. You're going to that dimension. I don't believe that. How are you going to tell me if you died yet? No, you haven't died yet. You're just making some kind of assumption that that's what it is. And, you're not going to know until it's your time, but there is something else. I don't know what it is. Is it, I know that they don't give you a lot of answers to it. They give you little snippets of stuff, you know what I mean? Like you hear a voice here, you hear a voice there. I've asked this question a lot because I've always, I know you're not supposed to ask if there's a heaven. You know what I mean? You have to believe in your heart that there's a heaven to be Christian. You've got to believe in Jesus Christ. You believe in Jesus Christ, you're going to heaven. We're all sinners. We're born sinners. That's just how it is. But in the Catholicism, the belief is, we're born sinners. That's how it is. You have to pay for, a penance and absolution to be forgiven for your sins before you can go to heaven. That's why you go to confession and, have to do penance to forgive you for your sins that you've committed. Is that the way it is? I don't know. I've talked to people who have actually died and came back. And one guy told me, he said he had died, and I knew him. I investigated. He actually had a haunted library. His name was Jim. I can't say his last name, but his name was Jim. Very nice guy. He owns a library, like an old used bookstore. And he actually dropped dead in the middle of a parking lot. And he was dead. He went into full cardiac arrest and he died. And luckily, two passerbys had seen him in between two cars. He had died in between his car and another car in a parking lot, in a Staples parking lot. And luckily, two people had walked by and just happened to be registered nurses. And they immediately started CPR on him. They don't even know how long he was laying there, but he had no pulse. He was not breathing. He was dead. They started CPR on him, and they brought him back. But, he said, yeah, I was dead. They brought me back. They saved my life. And he had to have heart surgery and all that stuff. And, he came back. And he told me this, and I had no idea. And he's like, yeah, man. I said, wow. I said, let me ask you a question. He goes, yeah. I said, did you see something? He's like, I did. He seen something when he died. I said, what did you see? He goes, I can't really describe it. He said, it was beautiful, but he said the whole thing was there was a sense of peace and not caring about anything else. You're like kind of like your earthly worries were over. He said, I didn't worry. He said, I had no more worry in my life. He said, I was floating kind of like in the sky. He said, I had no worries and I didn't care about anything. He said, I was just there existing. He said, I can't explain it. He said, all I can tell you is it's a peacefulness. He said, it's not bad. He said, it's a peacefulness. And the way he described it almost made you feel like, hey, maybe he was going to heaven. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I really don't know. When I really sit down and think about dying, it scares the hell out of me. I almost get like hyperventilating, kind of like when I start thinking about dying, and it's just like, am I going to die? I'm definitely going to die one day, without a doubt. And when you turn, you hit 50 years old. How many more years you got left? You know what I mean? I'm sitting here talking to you. Maybe I'll live another 10 years, 15 years, 20, you don't know. With this day and age, with all these weird diseases and, scientists coming up with these vaccines with COVID, and, it takes years and years and years to develop a vaccine. And here we are getting a vaccine that they developed in 6 months. That's unheard of. I don't know about you, but I've never heard of a vaccine being developed in 6 months. It takes years to develop a really functional and safe vaccine. And here we are taking shots, and they're making people do it. Like, that's insane. You have people in the government that they made them take a COVID shot or they were going to fire them. That's insane. That's insane. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm getting off the course here, sorry, about ghosts. But if you really sit down and think about dying, it scares the shit out of me. Maybe it will scare you too. I don't know. But really think about it. Losing your loved ones. I think that's, I think some people's energies are so strong and they're so, engripped in the earth that when they die, they don't want to leave. I think these are the people that are ghosts, that they're so entrenched in what's going on in their life that they can't let go. You know what I mean? So they die and they're so entrenched with what's going on in their life, with their loved ones, with their family, and they don't want to go. And they don't go. They stay here. And I think that's, maybe they were in love with their house. They loved everything about what they were doing. And then there's some people, when they die, they move on to whatever's next. If there's something next. I think there is. I'm entitled to think that. Anybody's entitled to think what they want. Maybe they think psychics are real. I don't know. Maybe they think demonic things are real in every investigation, but I don't think so. But, that's my opinion. And I'm not going to argue with anybody about their opinions. That's your opinion. If, you think there's demons, and hey, knock yourself out. But I always say this too. The bigger the claim, the bigger the proof. So you're going to claim something, you better be able to prove it. So if you're saying, this house has demons in it or it has major paranormal activity, you better be able to back that claim up with something. You better share some kind of evidence of paranormal phenomena or demonic phenomena before you go talking about there's some demons in there. Or, I don't use psychics in investigations. I'm sorry. That's just, I don't do it. People believe in them. I don't. Not to say that maybe there is someone out there that's psychic. Yeah, I mean, they really have to prove it to me. And I challenge any psychic one here to come on. If you're psychic, hey, come on the show and prove me wrong. I definitely like to be proven wrong. I'm not by any means a know-it-all, or I go by what I experience. Anything I say on here is my personal experience that I've experienced and I've seen and I've done. I'm not going to give anybody a line of bullshit about something I've done. I've done it. I did it. And that's the facts. If I've investigated and I experienced something, I experienced it. I documented it. Anything that I say, I can pull it up here on this computer right now and show you the evidence. I don't have to lie about anything that I've done in the last 20 plus years investigating. You want to hear something I got or see it? I'll pull it up on this computer in 2 seconds and let you hear it and let you see it. And I have no problems with putting it out in the public. I like putting it out there. I like people to see it because I definitely think that there's things out there. I know there's things out there that we can't explain. And that's including cryptids, sea things, sea monsters, maybe mermaids. I definitely think they're out there, without a doubt. I don't know if they're mermaids or maybe there's some kind of alien technology that's here, and I definitely think there's aliens here, without a doubt, because I seen one when I was a kid. I seen a UFO. That's no bullshit. I'll take a million lie detector tests. Anything somebody wants to give me, I seen it, and it's definitely the life that it's not from here. That's for sure. That craft that I seen is no way possible was from here. It just went too fast any human being would be liquid in about 2 seconds as fast as that thing took off. One of the most amazing things I've ever seen in my life. And it changed my life and got me into the paranormal stuff. I went from that to paranormal, about ghosts and demons and, are these things real? And, I've yet to see anything demonic to claim that that's real. That's what I'm basing my research off of. I've never seen it. Now, have I had weird shit happen? I really have. Some of the stuff that I've had happen, I cannot explain. But I won't say it's demonic because I have no proof that things are demonic. Like I said, the bigger the claim, the bigger the proof. And, you're going to claim it, you got to prove it. That's just how it is. I can't say that something's demonic and I can't prove it. Just because someone gets scratched with 3 scratches doesn't mean that's a demonic thing. It does not mean that. That's a typical TV movie scenario. Because someone got 3 scratches, it's demonic. It's a movie hype that sells. I've been scratched 3 times. I've personally been scratched, had 3 scratches. Do I think it was demonic? No. Did I see any demons? No. Maybe that's the only way this thing can communicate with you is by scratching you or pushing you or pulling your hair. Maybe it pushed you down the stairs. Is that demonic? No. Why would it be demonic? Because it pushed you down the stairs? Your friend could push you down the stairs by accident. You know what I mean? Maybe your friend would, get your attention and push you and you tripped and fell down the stairs. It's not demonic. It happened. It's maybe an accident. Maybe it didn't mean to push you and you fell down the stairs. You know what I mean? Foul smells. Is it demonic? I don't think so. I've smelled it before. It was freaky. It was totally freaky. I experienced it. I smelled it. Definitely smelled like a dead body. But if you're talking to someone who's dead, I don't think they'd be smelling like roses, right? They would probably smell like a dead body. I really don't know. I know when you hear EVPs, a lot of times you don't smell anything involved with it. Sometimes you smell a perfume or something. I've only smelled that dead body smell one time in all the years I've been investigating. Once I've smelled that. And I'm telling you, it was phenomenal. It stunk very bad, but it was phenomenal how it happened and went away as quick as it came, just disintegrated into thin air. And it's just amazing. I can't explain it. It happened. And he said, the client said that it would happen with, read the Bible and it happens. So, this season's going to be pretty good. We're going to talk about a lot of different things. We're going to get into, I definitely want to get into cryptids. I want to get some people maybe from like the Navajo Nation to come on here and talk about cryptids with skinwalkers because I don't know a lot about skinwalkers. And I'd really, really like to get someone on the show that knows about skinwalkers, has seen them, experienced them, and talk great detail about it because I think that's very, very interesting. And UFOs too. I'm definitely going to get some more people with UFOs. So I'm totally into UFOs and aliens. I definitely think the technology is here. They are here. They've been here a long time. And we'd be fools to think we're the only people in the whole universe. And we don't even know how big the universe is. To think we're the only people that exist. That's foolish and very careless to think something like that. And, if some of these things were, these aliens were hostile, we'd be dead already, folks. Because their technology is way more advanced than what we have. So, are these things hostile? I don't think so. Somebody might say otherwise, but if they wanted us dead, it would have already happened. A long time ago, it would have happened. They could wipe us out easy. We don't have the technology they have. And it's obvious that the technology we have, we got from them. So, I don't think that human beings are smart enough to develop this kind of technology, especially from when I was a kid to now. We've went bounds and leaps in technology from when I was a kid till now. I had a black and white TV when I was a kid. Now we have, I can get a mini SD card that stores so much stuff. You got these terabyte hard drives, cell phones. You got a computer in your hand. I mean, we didn't even have cell phones when I was a kid. the furthest thing we seen as a cell phone was a shoe phone from Get Smart when it was a TV show. He had his shoe phone. Star Trek. See the doors open up on and they had the radio. Like, dude, that was like a Nextel back then. We didn't know anything about Nextels, but here's Captain Kirk. He's got a Nextel. He's calling back to the ship. Beep, beep, beep. We had no idea about Nextels enough. Automatic. This stuff's amazing, man. And it's amazing that some of these movies that they've put out, the actual stuff comes true in them too. So definitely stay with me, folks. Sorry about the delay in season 2. We're going to try to get it on a regular, maybe go live some when I can. My work schedule is really, really nuts right now, so I'm trying to squeeze things in. Plus, I'm investigating, so it's going to be. It's been crazy the last couple months since Christmas, so. I'm glad to be back there. I'm glad to get out here and put some more information out and talking about the paranormal stuff. But I definitely want to get into the UFOs and cryptids. Talking about Bigfoot, I totally love Bigfoot stuff too. I mean, the cryptids. I don't know much about skinwalkers from what I've read. Even getting into the Mothman thing, I think that's very, very interesting too. So I was watching a documentary the other day about Mothman, and they had a scientist on there. He was a biologist, and he was talking about the Mothman was this big owl. It was a big owl that, his eyes were, in nighttime, his eyes glow red. Allegedly everybody mistaken this Mothman for this owl. So, is it true? I'd love to get some people on from West Virginia, from down that area, and talking about Mothman. If anybody listens to the show, you're from that area, please send me an email at paranormaljournal18@comcast.net. And I want to get you on the show and talk about it. And I'm going to be reaching out to some more people. I'm actually going to be on some podcasts as well. And I'm going to have my friends from Mission Spooky coming on talking about an investigation we did together. We did a joint investigation together with me, Kiki, and the guys from Mission Spooky. And we had a blast. We did have fun. We were all tired as hell by the end of it, but we did have fun, and we ate some pretty good dinner and laughed and joked, and but we had fun, man. It was fun. Cord and those guys are cool, man. Cord, JC, and Kiki, they're really, really cool. We had a hell of a good time, and definitely can't wait to do it again with them. And I'm going to have them on the show. We're going to talk about the investigation, and we're going to play some EVPs that we caught that night, because we did catch some really good EVPs that night in that investigation. So stay tuned for that one. I'm going to have them on real soon. We're working out a date where we can all do the podcast, and then, I'll put it on and get it out here to you guys. But it was a cool night, and the Mission Spooky people, really, really good people, honest people, and I like them a lot. And I've been on their show a couple of times, so go check out Mission Spooky podcast as well. They're on Spotify and all the iTunes. They're on all that, same as the Paranormal Journal podcast. And like I said, I'm going to have them over here with me. So I'm going to wrap this up for tonight, folks. The first episode back for season 2 is in the books. I'm glad to be back. Definitely tune in, because we are going to have a hell of a lot more stuff. So till next time, folks, have a good rest of your week, and I'll see you next time on the Paranormal Journal podcast. Night, everybody.
That will conclude our broadcast of the Paranormal Journal podcast. Have a great night.